Hi, my name is Nacho, welcome back to the channel, and the rumors surrounding the new Star Wars movie have been nothing short but wild. Since the reveal of the upcoming film, The New Jedi Order, and the not so well received news of the new feminist activist director Sharmeen Chinoy, and her commitment to finally have a woman shape the Star Wars universe, sure, whatever you say, the chatter surrounding this new chapter of the franchise have been nothing less than radioactive. Rumors of delays, cancellations, people leaving the project, script leaks, Sharmeen Chinoy being sidelined, which unfortunately was proven to be false, cause otherwise that would have been hilarious. Salaries leaked, but let's go over the ones that are the most worrisome. Let's start with the most concerning rumor in my opinion, the hint that this movie doesn't have a finished script. Whether or not this is true, several articles now regarding the pitch that was done to Daisy to come back to the role of Rey all have in common that she hasn't read a definite script and that she only knows the idea or concept that Sharmeen has shared with her for the film, which goes in a different direction than she expected but is also cool as shit. Press X to doubt. Between you and me, if I was offered to reprise a role for $12 million, anything after that figure would sound cool as shit. Funny how this might be the first Star Wars movie where the lead actress makes more money than the movie itself. But going back to the script, Steven Knight reportedly has yet to turn a finished draft. Now I've heard of productions adapting scripts on the go. PJ was making new lines for the actors of the Fellowship daily, which is why Boromir is looking down so often during the council scene, because he's reading the new lines that are on the top of his leg. But greenlighting a movie that would probably cost upwards of $200 million with nothing more than an idea or a concept is crazy, especially on a limping franchise such as Star Wars.
Not to fear, little children. I will help.
What's even more troubling is the fact that opposite to Steven, who, being a writer for Peaky Blinders, gave me a very tiny shimmer of hope for this film, is Sharmeen Chinoy, the Pakistani filmmaker not trained in filmmaking that includes a piece of her activism in everything she makes.
The heart of everything, I am a storyteller and an activist.
No one likes those.
So on one hand, you have a good writer who's already been involved in a successful franchise where all the lead characters are tough, hardened men, and on the other hand, you got a feminist activist who is okay to play the woman card whenever suits her best.
I've always thought that being a woman is my greatest asset. I mean, I really can get away with doing a lot of things in Pakistan. Got to play the woman card. There's a long line of men standing. Stand to the front of the line. When you can play the woman card, you play the woman card. The damsel in distress. I mean, don't I look like a damsel in distress?
No, you don't. No one will be able to pick you up, Sharmeen. And just to add a cherry to this grass cake, is that the concept for the new Rey movie is still based on the rejected script from the sequels that has been rewritten countless times, at least 6.
We're never gonna make it.
The premise of it revolves around the idea of Grey Knights who are capable of merging both the power of the dark side and the light side of the Force, with Rey teaching abilities that would not normally be accessible to a Jedi to her daughter, who with only 9 years old will be able to combine the light and the dark side and become a new type of Jedi. That, coincidentally, sounds very similar to the pitch that Palpatine used to turn Anakin to the dark side, and they wonder why it got rejected 6 times. It's basically Rey restarting the Jedi Order and she's either pregnant with Ben's kids or has had Ben's kids and the boy is evil. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? That's because it is. It also implies that in her new movie, Rey is going to be... oh my... by a ghost. And despite my love for the idea of knights able to wield both sides of the Force, my favorite character of all time has always been Starkiller, it wouldn't make sense to use that in the main storyline. If a Jedi is using dark side powers, they are no longer a Jedi, and if they practice Jedi values and don't chase absolute power, they are no longer a Sith. That's the conflict that makes the story. Making Grey Knights a standardized thing would eventually lead to a flat story, where no one is really bad or believably good. It would be grey. Now going back to the less than flattering comments about the male gender made by Chinoy that were taken out of context, I have to emphasize that for the Chinoy Sims in the comments, which regardless still sounded pretty fucking bad and led to a massive backlash from the fans, Daisy Ridley came out and stated that the claims that Star Wars fans are sexist have been blown out of proportion. And I agree, they have. The real fans are not sexist. It is the new director who's sexist.
When you can play the woman card, you play the woman card.
Now this could be easily labeled as damage control being carried out by Disney after Sharmeen's resurfaced comments. And this being Disney, I wouldn't find that to be strange. But Daisy followed that statement, sharing the experiences after her return was announced, saying that the interactions that I've had with people have been nothing but wonderful and supportive.
I take it things get blown out of proportion, and the interactions I've ever had with people have been nothing but wonderful and supportive. And honestly, the day we announced that I was coming back, you cannot imagine the joy and goodwill in that room.
Which is nice. After all, she's an actress. Her only job is to read the lines given to her and play the character to the best of her abilities. Speaking of which, I can't say that I think she's a great actress. The only other thing I've ever seen her in was in Chaos Walking with Tom Holland, and I doubt many people remember that movie exists. What I'll say is that Daisy is really good for the character of Rey. She's a good looking woman, she seems cool in real life, and much like Tom Holland, whose highlights as an actor can pretty much be narrowed to the Spider-Man franchise, being a one-trick pony is not a bad thing. Rey is a character suitable for Daisy, that unfortunately was made to be in a way that no one liked in order to take over the franchise in a very forceful way. Sorry. It's not her fault that she's a Mary Sue, she was just written like that. Or that this new movie will probably emphasize the evil nature of men while highlighting how fucking awesome women are.
Girls get it done.
Yes, yes.
By her training the twins, with the boy being the one turning to the dark side and killing her, and the girl become the new type of Jedi that brings back the balance. Again, rumors. Nothing is confirmed, but the track record hardly says otherwise. Now, with the hope that this is not the case and we get a decent Star Wars, press X to doubt, I'm curious to see how she'll approach the character now. She's in her 30s, has had more experience both acting and producing films, so she might bring a sense of maturity that will be different from her past experiences with the role. Speaking of experiences, now that Disney has trusted Daisy with winning back the fans to the franchise after their recent nefarious choices, not sure if choosing Rey Palpatine out of all people to do this is also not one of them. She's shared some of her stories from the sequels that have been very interesting. Other than her returning salary, the one story that caught my attention was how she thought she ruined the franchise after seeing herself for the first time on the screen, which gave her great feelings of anxiety. Which is totally understandable, since that was her first lead role in a massive blockbuster franchise after only being featured in TV shows. Looking back now, she says, "I definitely have more grace now for it. It's funny now too, because that was 10 years ago, so if anything comes out on the TV, I'm like, oh, I'm a baby. Oh my god, that's me as a baby." Which is some of that maturity I've mentioned. But what was definitely insane was what J.J. Abrams told her when he first offered her the part of Rey. This is not a role in a movie, this is a religion for people. It changes things on a level that's inconceivable. This, added to her immediate shot to fame, caused her a great level of stress, and by the time The Last Jedi rolled around, she spoke about the toll that stress and exhaustion took on her after The Force Awakens hit theaters. By the time The Last Jedi opened, Ridley's anxiety was so severe that she developed holes in her stomach wall. Imagine telling a 23-year-old actress who just landed the biggest role of her life in a franchise beloved by generation that hasn't seen a main storyline movie in 10 years that she's gonna be the next Space Jesus. Just inject the cortisol straight into her bloodstream, why don't you? Of course she's gonna be stressed. I'm surprised she didn't land it in the hospital. Who would say that to someone? Now, despite the feelings of sympathy for Daisy that this is intended to create, I'm still remaining very skeptical if any of this is even true, and if this is nothing more than a massive damage control campaign launched preemptively by Disney to avoid this movie sinking further into the nether.
But Nacho hearsay, that's very insensitive of you.
Forgive me for not feeling devastated for the discomfort of a woman who's being paid 8 figures to reprise a role she very well knows is not the fans' favorite in a franchise that has been beaten down so hard by its new owners, its own creator doesn't even recognize it anymore. I'm sure more leaks and rumors will come out, because much like every woke rotten franchise out there, some people want nothing more than to see it fail, and will come up with any shit on Twitter that is in some cases true, but in a large majority false. I honestly believe that there's a major change coming, and slowly, but surely, the people in charge of these projects will either be forced out by the money people, aka the investors, or they will come to the realization that whatever ideologies they're trying to inject are no longer working and will have to go back to hiring people with at least experience in making science fiction, or at the very least, people who don't come out as total assholes. But if you watch this far into the video, leave us a like, check out this video next, let me know in the comments down below which is your favorite piece of Star Wars gossip, and as always, I've been Nacho, hope you enjoyed the video, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.